Okay, welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to get a little bit more practice with the filter method. What I want you to do is I want you to create an array of numbers and just put some numbers into it. And what I want you to do is use the filter method to push all of the even numbers into a new array. So what we're going to do is essentially use the filter method to iterate over an array of numbers and check to see what numbers are even and basically push those into a new array. So we can create an array called numbers. I'll just write some numbers. I'll say 6, 10, 1, 104, 7, 8, 9. We'll do a 50, a 60, 44, 16, 8, 17. Okay? So we just have an array of numbers. So what I want to do is basically iterate over the array and push all of the even numbers into a new array. So pause the video and see if you can do that. So how you can do that is as follows. We can create a variable, we'll say let even numbers be equal to, and we'll use the filter method on the numbers array to iterate over each element of that array and do a check. And we will return every number whereby that number mod 2 is strictly equal to 0. We've seen that before. That is how we can check to see if a number is an even number. So what we'll do is we'll say let even numbers be equal to, and it's going to be equal to our array of numbers, but we're going to invoke the filter method by saying dot filter. And we know the filter method is expecting to receive a callback function passed in as an argument, and the callback function is going to fire or run for each element in this array. So each element, we've got to get a reference to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to call that number, okay? And what do we want to do? Well, what we want to do is for each number in the original array, we want to return that number or push it into a new array depending on some condition. And that condition will be if the filter method is iterating over a number whereby that number mod 2 is strictly equal to 0. So we've seen this before. This is going to check to see if the number is even. So for example, 6 mod 2 divides in evenly, there's nothing left over. So 6 mod 2, 6 modules 2, 6 divides in evenly to 2, divides in 3 times, so there's 0 left over, therefore 6 is an even number, okay? 10 will be the same, 10 mod 2, 10 divides in basically 5 times, so basically there's nothing left over, so we also know that 10 is an even number. 1, however, won't divide in evenly, it doesn't even divide in, there's 1 left over, so therefore 1 is an odd number, okay? So now what we can do is just log out to the console.log, we'll say even numbers array, and what are the values? Well, comma separate, we're going to have our even numbers. So if I save and refresh, we see here we get our array of even numbers only. Okay, awesome. So that is how you can use the filter method to iterate over an array of numbers and essentially check to see what numbers are even and then push those into a new array. If you wanted to do the same to check for odd numbers, all you'd have to do is check if the number mod 2 was equal to 1, therefore we know it's an odd number. So to prove that to you, if I just comment that code out, what we can do is we can then check for the odd numbers. So what we'll do now is we'll say let odd numbers be equal to our numbers array dot filter. We're going to pass in our function here. Okay, and our callback function, and what we're going to do is call each number, each item or element of the array that we're iterating over. We're going to get a reference to that by just calling it number. You could even call it element as well if you wanted, or item, it's up to you. We'll call it item, I guess. Actually no, we'll call it number, apologies. And what we're going to do is we're going to return each number that we're iterating over in this original array, provided some condition is true. And what we want to do is you want to check that the number mod 2 basically has a 1 left over. So that will return all of the odd numbers, okay? So for example, 6 mod 2 is 0, so an even number won't be added to our odd numbers array. 10 mod 2, well 10 divides an even into 2 5 times. There's nothing left over. Where 1 is an odd number, that'll go into our odd numbers array. So to prove that to you, if I just say console.log odd numbers, what we get now is our odd numbers array. So I'll just say comma separate and just say odd numbers array. So basically, it looks like most of the numbers were actually even. So what we can do is we can just uncomment that out. Sorry, let's try it again. Let's do both. If I, hang on. Oops. That don't really works for me. Weird. Okay, that's not uncommenting out. Please bear with me. Try again. Oops. Oh, this is a disaster. There we go. Sorry, I was actually pressing the right one. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so essentially, guys, that is how we can use the filter method to iterate over an array of numbers. And basically what we can do is do a check. So return all of the even numbers and push those into an even numbers array, or return all of the odd numbers and push those into an odd numbers array. Okay, so that's awesome. That was just a bit more practice with the filter method in JavaScript. So what you can see here is we have our original array of all of these numbers. And what we've done is, using the filter method, we've pushed all the even numbers into the even numbers array and all of the odd numbers into the odd numbers array. So once again, the filter method can be used to iterate over all of the values or elements in an array. It will return true or false based on some condition, and whenever it evaluates to true, or anything that passes that test, our test that we set will be pushed into the new array. Okay, that's awesome. I'll see you in the next tutorial.